guys, it's Brittany, and today I'm back with a video regarding having a car at Disney World. So we've done this a couple of times now. Now we live in Wisconsin, so we always fly. But a lot of these tips, I guess you could say, apply to people regardless of whether they fly or whether they drive. So the first time we rented a car at the airport, and then we ended up returning it at the car care center on Disney World property. And when you return your car at the car care center on Disney World property, they will bring you back to your resort or to a park for free as part of their shuttle program. And so we were staying at the Grand Floridian at the time, so I waited at the hotel while my husband brought the car back, and then they drove him back with the shuttle, and it was relatively quick. And now the second time, we picked the car up and dropped it off at the airport, so we had it for the entire stay. Now, driving at Disney World, I didn't drive, my husband drove both times, but he said it was very easy. We used our phone for directions for using the GPS on our phone, and had no problems getting around, really. There are actually very few stoplights and stop signs on Disney World property. So that was nice. We didn't really have to wait in traffic or anything like that. Now, in terms of parking, if you are staying on Disney World property, parking is free at the resort and at the parks. So the first time you're pulling into your resort, you haven't checked in yet, you'll have to stop at the booth where there's actually a person there and tell them that you're checking in. And then every other time when you're pulling into the resort, you can go, we were at Wilderness Lodge this most recent time that I'm thinking of. It was a little bit to the right of the booth, and you scan your Magic Band. There's a little post with a platform where you scan your Magic Band, and then you do that, and it recognizes your reservation on your Magic Band, and the arm of the gate goes up, and you go in. So it's very, very simple. And when you are pulling into the parks, the same thing. You will stop, and there's a person at a booth, and you tell them you're staying on property, and sometimes they would scan our Magic Band and sometimes not, but usually they would scan our Magic Band, and then it would just register that we're a guest staying on Disney World property, and they would let us in. No problem. We did not have to pay for parking. Now, we drove to all of the parks except for Magic Kingdom because we were staying at Wilderness Lodge, and the Magic Kingdom is the only park that does not have a parking lot there. You have to park at the TTC, which is the Transportation and Ticket Center, and then either take a ferry boat to the Magic Kingdom or get on a monorail and take that to the Magic Kingdom. And being at the Wilderness Lodge, which is so close, we could either take a boat or a bus to the Magic Kingdom, so it was easier for us to use the Disney World transportation for that. Now, the reason we decided to do this was both times it originated because we were doing things off Disney World property. The first time I just wanted to make some stops at some stores, so we only kept the car. We were doing a split stay. So like I said, we picked it up at the airport, and then we did some things off property, and then we went to Coronado Springs for, I think it was 2 nights, and then we transferred to the Grand Floridian. And then my husband returned the car as I was checking in, and then we used Disney World Disney World transportation from there on out. Now, the second time we picked the car up at the airport, we went to Universal, and then we went to Disney World, and then we kept the car the entire time and then returned it when we were flying out of the airport. And it worked great. Both times it worked great. And there was a couple of things I was a little concerned about. I was concerned about kind of ruining some of the magic because, you know, when you are on the Disney transportation, they have Disney music playing and stuff like that. But I made a point, and actually we both agreed, my husband and I had a discussion beforehand. We're not going to listen to non-Disney World music. We're going to have a special Disney playlist on our phone, and then as soon as we get in the car, I would be responsible for putting on the Disney music, and then he would be responsible for getting us out of the parking lot or out of our resort or whatever. And that way it kind of made it seem a lot more like you're still on vacation, because that's a huge part of why I really like going to Disney World, is because it feels like you're in a completely different world. You don't really have connections to the outside world. So I didn't want to listen to the radio and hear things that were going on outside of Disney World property. So that was kind of a fun tip that I really I really recommend. I thought it worked out really well. Now, in terms of where you park, it's kind of a crapshoot. So sometimes we got really lucky and we parked not any further than we would have had to walk if we were using the bus, the Disney World buses to go back to the resort. I'm referring to where you're parking at the parks. So when you go to the parks, it's sometimes we parked really close and sometimes we parked really far. Now we're young and able-bodied, so we walked every time, but they do have trams for those that are parking further away. But yeah, it wasn't ever, we never parked so far away that I thought, hey, this isn't worth it. I wish we had taken the bus. So I hope that was somewhat helpful to guests thinking about driving to or renting a car at Disney World. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.